While much of the country was focused on the holiday season, activity continued behind the scenes in Washington. During the late hours, federal officials finalized actions that signaled a shift in how government operations are being reviewed and managed. The Department of Government Efficiency released new guidance that went beyond routine administrative updates. Rather than small adjustments, the move indicated a broader effort to reassess long-standing practices and spending structures within the federal system. For those closely following government operations, the timing and scope stood out. The message suggested increased scrutiny of how public resources are allocated and a renewed emphasis on accountability and effectiveness. While the changes themselves may unfold gradually, the signal was clear. Established processes are being re-examined, and expectations around efficiency and oversight are becoming more prominent in the national conversation about how public funds are used. In recent weeks, coverage from major outlets suggested that the Department of Government Efficiency initiative had stalled or lost momentum. Some commentary framed it as a short-lived announcement that would ultimately be absorbed by existing bureaucratic processes, questioning whether its leadership would be able to produce lasting change. However, developments late on December 24th offered a different picture. According to released updates, work continued through the holiday period, with teams conducting detailed reviews of federal programs and internal spending structures. Rather than pausing, the initiative appeared to be entering an active assessment phase, focused on identifying inefficiencies and long-standing cost drivers. These efforts went beyond surface-level recommendations. The reviews targeted core operational systems, signaling a more thorough approach to fiscal oversight and resource management. For observers tracking the initiative closely, the timing underscored a commitment to sustained evaluation rather than symbolic reform. As a result, earlier assumptions about the project's viability have been reconsidered. Available information suggests continued activity and follow-through, reinforcing the idea that the initiative remains an ongoing effort aimed at improving efficiency and accountability in government spending. New figures have begun appearing in the public record, offering a clearer picture of the Department of Government Efficiency's recent activity. Over a 48-hour period, the department terminated 14 federal contracts following internal reviews. According to the released summaries, those agreements represented nearly $200 million in projected spending and were identified as either ineffective, redundant, or no longer essential to agency operations. The reviews focused on areas such as overlapping administrative services, repeated consulting arrangements, and programs that had continued without demonstrating measurable outcomes. Officials involved in the process described the decisions as part of a broader effort to reduce structural inefficiencies and redirect resources more effectively. These actions followed the cancellation of a separate contract valued at approximately $863 million earlier in the same week. Taken together, the decisions amounted to more than $1 billion in projected expenditures removed from future obligations over a short time frame. Observers noted the pace of the reviews as unusual by Washington standards, highlighting a shift toward faster evaluation and implementation. Supporters argue that the approach reflects a renewed emphasis on accountability and stewardship of public funds, aligning with calls for closer oversight of federal spending raised in recent months. A widely shared photograph has drawn attention as a visual representation of the current moment. It shows President Trump alongside Elon Musk in an informal setting, a rural agricultural barn, rather than a traditional government venue. Musk appears in casual clothing, while Trump gestures mid-conversation, creating an image that contrasts sharply with more formal political backdrops. For many observers, the setting and tone conveyed a broader message about collaboration between established leadership and private sector innovation. Supporters of the Department of Government Efficiency initiative have pointed to the image as symbolic of an effort to bring unconventional perspectives into long-standing government processes. The reaction has been mixed. Critics have raised concerns about the potential impact of cost-cutting measures on public sector employment and government services. Administration officials, meanwhile, have emphasized a focus on restructuring procedures and reducing long-term obligations as part of a broader fiscal strategy. The debate reflects a larger question facing policymakers: how to balance efficiency, innovation, and fiscal responsibility with workforce stability and service delivery. As discussions continue, the image has come to represent that tension, capturing a moment where differing visions for the future of government and the economy are being openly weighed against one another. The impact of these budget decisions is being felt beyond Washington. Financial analysts and market observers have noted that sustained efforts to reduce federal spending can influence broader perceptions of fiscal discipline, including how international investors view U.S. economic management. For some, the moves signal a renewed focus on long-term stability after years of elevated spending and inflationary pressure. Supporters of the Department of Government Efficiency initiative argue that trimming non-essential expenditures and restructuring programs could strengthen confidence in public finances over time. They see the approach as part of a broader attempt to bring spending in line with revenue and improve transparency around how resources are allocated. At the same time, the political challenges remain significant. Labor groups and policy critics have expressed concern about the effects of cost-cutting on public sector employment and institutional capacity, warning that reductions must be carefully managed to avoid unintended consequences. Administration officials counter that the goal is to protect taxpayers while ensuring government remains effective and sustainable. Looking ahead to 2026, discussions around efficiency and oversight are expected to intensify as further reviews are conducted. The recent actions taken during the holiday period underscored that the initiative is ongoing, not symbolic. How extensive the reforms ultimately become will depend on political negotiations, economic conditions, and public response. But for now, the debate over the future size and structure of government spending is clearly gaining momentum.